Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all for today's monthly lecture series 2026, which is jointly organized by Maharashtra Vriksha Samvardhani Pune, Department of Botany, RJ College, Mumbai, and Barrister Babasaheb Khardekar College, Vengurla. It is my pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker, Dr. Mayank Shekhar, uh, Senior Scientist from Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleosciences. Uh, Dr. Mayank, he did his MSc Applied Botany in 2006 from Department of Botany, Bundelkhand University, Jhansi. He did MTech Environmental Science, Natural Resource Management in 2008 from Institute of Environment and Development Studies, Bundelkhand University, Jhansi. He did professional course in geology in 2009, organized by Paleontological Society of India at the Department of Geology, University of Lucknow. He did his PhD in 2014. The title of his thesis was Application of Multi-Proxy Tree Ring Parameters in the Reconstruction of Climate vis-a-vis Glacial Fluctuations from the Eastern Himalaya, under the supervision of Dr. Amlavaj Bhattacharya, ex-scientist BSIP Lucknow and alumnus of University of Arizona, the Laboratory of Tree Ring Research, USA. He did advanced training in dendrogeomorphology in 2015 from Dendromorphology Institute, University of Bern, Switzerland, and postdoctoral level specialized training focused on the application of tree ring analysis for reconstructing natural hazards. He started his career as junior research fellow in 2008 at Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleosciences, and presently he holds the position of Scientist C at the same institute. He has published more than 62 peer-reviewed articles in 33 different journals, national and international journals, and chapters in 10 edited books. His research interests are quaternary climate, monsoon dynamics, droughts, glacier fluctuations, natural hazards, and vegetation changes in the Himalayan and core monsoon regions, emphasizing climate reconstruction utilizing tree ring data. He has completed many projects. Some of them are reconstruction of climate and dating of geohazards related to hydrogeomorphic evidence from the Sikkim Himalaya based on tree ring proxy. Presently, he is working on the project Structure and Functioning of Himalayan Monsoon Shadow Forest Ecosystem under the National Mission on Himalayan Studies, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India. With this short introduction, now I request Dr. Mayank to deliver his talk. Dr. Mayank.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to sincerely thank organizer for inviting me to deliver this lecture in the monthly lecture series. I'm especially grateful to Ajit sir and the team of Maharashtra Vriksha Samvardhani Department of Botany, RJ College, Mumbai, and Khardekar College for organizing such a wonderful program and giving me opportunity to share my work with all of you. And being a student of botany, it's a truly fascinating for me to talk or to discuss my work, especially in the plant science group. And I'm very much interested or also motivated to discuss how the tree ring science is being used in ecology, environmental science. And I hope after discussion we will get a lot of insights from tree ring science and their application in environmental variability or environmental change, especially with the climate and natural hazards. So as we all know that trees are among the most living organisms in the earth, and some of trees lived for more than 1,000 years. And you may know that some of trees are even lived for 1,000 years, 5,000 years. We will see in the later slides. And these trees are natural thermometry or natural observatory, which records everything, which and infer, if you want to infer anything related with climate change or anything related with environmental degradation or changes, you can infer by using tree rings. So the science of discussing the science of study of these rings are called dendrochronology. But the dendrochronology is a very vast subject, and it's cover almost all aspects of climate, all aspects of environments. And being a student of plant science, if you observe the anatomical features or the ring features and then you infer a climatic phenomena or a glacier phenomena, it is truly fascinating. So today, in today's talk, we will discuss the basics of dendrochronology, the applications in wider range, and I will try to explain some complexity of this study, few case study from abroad and few case study from our Indian perspective. So, basics, let's start with the basics. What is dendrochronology? Dendrochronology, as I have discussed here, it's just a study of annual ring. In the temperate or high altitude mountain region, every year tree produces growth sequences that may be defined as a ring. And this ring is produced because of cambial activity, which leads to secondary growth. So as you can see in the picture, the one lighter and darker band completes an annual ring. So is it visible?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So these, as you can see in the picture, in the diagram, this is the earlier picture of Fritz. We will discuss the journey of dendrochronology in later slides. These lighter and darker bands are completely called a ring, and the information encoded in these rings are very much vitals. This information in terms of climate, in terms of drought, in terms of natural hazard, everything is there in their ring patterns. So this, as you can see, the outermost ear is the ear in which you collect the samples where the bark is there and the cambial still active. So if you count from the pith lower portion to the upper portion, you may get 7-year-old tree. This is an example. And 8th year of growth is still going. So this is one cross section of the tree. If you take samples, we will discuss how we take samples, and then you analyze the rings. Each annual layer represents a complete story of environmental changes and climate change. So little bit finer resolution, you can see that these lighter and darker bands which appears during growing period and at the end of their growing period. So growing period in terms of pre-monsoon seasons, where the growing period started, and the latter in the sense like October, November, and winter season, the growth uh, terminates, and the darker and dense cells produces. So the lighter and darker band completely, we call it a ring, and it's represent a year. In the lower panel, you can see two graphs. One graph is the disk. We take a sample of disk, and the other graph is a picture of annual rings. The yellow color box I have highlighted, they are very much important. These are called traumatic resin duct. Resin duct is a very natural phenomena which produces in any rings, but the traumatic resin ducts are the unorganized cells which represents a lot of information in terms of climate, in terms of hazards, or in terms of droughts. So before we go to the complexity and the application of these annual features or the ring features, I would like to discuss the history of dendrochronology so that a broader audience can see how the evolution of this subject and how relevant this subject to the society nowadays. So starting from the Leonardo, he realized that the ring has some influence of environmental conditions. But the actual science began during 1867 or to 1962 by Professor Douglas. He, he, he known as the father of dendrochronology, and he developed the method of cross dating. Actually, he was studying the solar cycles and their impact on rings in the initial days. And later he established this subject and established an institution, a laboratory in USA, which is one of the most versatile and dynamic institution of tree ring in the world, which is called Tree Ring Research Laboratory at University of Arizona. And then, as we have discussed, the tree which lived more than 4,000 years, 5,000 years is also on a record. And for the dating of this older tree, one of the eminent scientists, Sulman, he discovered or he dated the oldest tree, crystal pine, that is 4,000 years in USA. So he extended the work of Douglas and he extended the long chronology in North America. He discovered the oldest tree of pines. Then actual dendrochronology starts from Professor Fritz. He discovered the principle, he discovered pioneering work in dendroclimatology and developed all statistical tools to reconstruct or to harvest the hidden information in the rings. Since, as I have earlier told, that the rings are the natural observatory, records all climatic or hazards event, but the problem is that how we harvest this information or how we get this information. So the Fritz, we always refer the Pitama of this subject. He mentioned a lot of statistical method by which we can delineate the biological trends as well as the climate impacts. So the Fritz still we refer in every paper you can find in any reading paper you can find this reference of Fritz because he's almost developed the things which still we are working on it in today's world or we are trying to understand its concepts. Then Song River from Europe, Switzerland, he developed a lot of anatomical work. And then he shifted from climatology to ecology. He tried to understand how anatomical features are related with any ecological changes and then made drastic changes to this subject. Now people are in this era, the people are started working on ecological aspects in the stress conditions or in the insect attack condition, how the anatomical features are, how the tree responded to that event, and how things are changed. So these atlas of anatomy is still relevant to all the worker who are working in this subject, and also for the basics or the master's students who want to learn the anatomical features of higher plants. Then this subject travel to many boundaries. It crosses the many boundaries. Then you can see the Professor Buffet, he's the professor of climate science. He used this tool that is called Dendrochronology or annual ring from UK and reconstructed large scale climate reconstruction using tree. Here the reconstruction means to extend the climatic data beyond instrumental record. Beyond instrumental record means we have hardly record of 100 or more than 150, 100 years of record of climatic data by instrument, by rain gauge, or by any meteorological data sets. But to understand the climatic features or to climatic phenomena, it is essential to have a long-term perspective so that we can infer how much changes we have observed during this journey. In this term, in this journey, the tree ring proxy act as a tool to use to reconstruct or to extend the climate data sets. We will discuss these things in later slide. And he contributed one of the major work, that is hockey stick. You may all aware of this. The hockey stick is the accelerated climate change first paper appear in Nature which says that climate change are accelerating, and it's now very very essential to cut down or to understand the global emission scenario like this. But this is also a global debate, a debate of methodology. A lot of paper came after that. People are corrected or questions this high hockey stick. We will discuss later. And then in recent time period, Professor Jan Isper, he is also a professor of chemistry from University of Mainz, Germany. He reconstructed lot of millennium reconstruction, and recently in a couple of days, a couple of month ago, he published one of the best paper where he discussed about the certainty and the problems of these reconstructions. So now came to the era of 1980s when Professor Edwin Cook, he's also one of the living legendary of trading science, who is still working as a emeritus professor in dendroclimatology and climate science in Columbia University. He earlier, during it's a very interesting story that during his PhD, he got assignment to develop a software which can be used to develop a tree ring chronology. Chronology means to time series of ring width, annual ring width data sets. So he developed a software called Anston. We still using, we all dendrochronologists throughout the world, we are using Anston. Although there are a lot of advanced version are available in R, Python and every year, but the core concept of chronology development still comes from Professor Cook. Now, this is the global scenario, but I want to discuss the Indian perspective of dendrochronology. The two professor, the Professor Amalabha Bhattacharya and Dr. Ram Ratan Yadav, sir, the both is the father of Indian dendrochronologists. I can say that these are the living legends who developed this subject beyond the existing, or he established this science. And I'm proud to be one of the last student of Dr. Bhattacharya, and I'm also happy to share you that Dr. Akhilesh Yadav is the last student of Dr. Ram Ratan sir Yadav sir. So we both are the last student of two legend professors who have developed this subject in Indian scenario, and the work these two professors, these two scientists have initiated this work in 1980s, and in initial they have searched the long chronology from Himalaya. They have established the dating feasibilities of tree. They studied lot of trees, and they responded that these trees are maybe datable or not, even broadleaf also. But the conifer work initially they published. They studied dendrochronological data sets, and then the reconstruction is started. The reconstruction means, like, again I say that the instrumental data extension. So the both professor, they have reconstructed lot of climatic parameters, including climate, drought, and even Dr. Yadav sir have published snow water equivalent. This is one of the best component of to understand the health of the glaciers. So we are thank you for our Gurudev who taught us this subject, and we are still working this fascinating subject. So as I have earlier said that there are the tree which are lived more than 4,000 years. This is Pinus longiviva in USA. And the Professor Suleiman who dated this, and he started his career by dating this tree. And that time, in 1963 all onwards, that tree was like 4,900 years. And it may be, and now it's more than 5,000, but it's now cut down. Now this tree is no more. So they have the drought, they have, again, this another tree from Himalaya, Yadav sir discovered in 2006. Earlier, it was like juniper species in Himalaya from Lahaul Spiti region. Earlier, it was from 1500 years from, but nearby the same area, they discover more than 2000 years of old trees. These are the trees which record a climate history or anything that had happened in the past. These two trees are recording or recorded everything. So these are the few photographs of trees growing in Himalayan region, which I worked in my 40 years of research career. So these are the Pinus rocks virgi, which is generally growing in Uttarkasi region and lower latitude region. And then Abies spectabilis, which is growing to the vicinity of Dokrani glacier. So if you collect the samples of these Abies spectabilis species, then we can easily understand the glaciers influences on the growth. Near, we have collected the samples from Abies pindro from Thazwa glaciers, Kashmir region. It's also sensitive to hydroclimatic changes. And the last one is the Abies pindro from Himachal Pradesh, which is sensitive to glacier changes. As you can see that snow are still there at the end of the growing season, or maybe at the in June, July, in the end of the growing season. These are the few trees from Gangotri Glacier. Betula utilis, one of the famous glacier, Gangotri Glacier, where the Betula utilis Bhojpatra. It's a very the plant is broadleaf, and its rings are complex, difficult to date, but these trees are the real signatures. They are real observatory for the glacial movement. The forest from Abies densa from Sikkim. I did my PhD from Eastern Himalaya, and I learned, I observed that densa is one of the best tree to understand the climatic picture. All this, although there are dating problem. The Deodar from Kulli region, which also reflect very essential or useful for drought understanding. PCI species from Sikkim, which is also good for natural hazard studies. Few more species. These are the legendary trees, which is the paper published by Singh et al., which shows that these pencil, Himalaya pencil cedar, and the other Pinus giridiana and other species which are very much older in nature. In the left side, the Dhyani and Bhattacharya sir, they have published a current science paper. They shows these trees are in Himachal Pradesh. They are the oldest Betula utilis. It is more than 600 years old. And the last panel have collected samples from the Himalayan region, which are close to the vicinity of Dokrani glaciers. And I understand these trees are very much influenced by the glacier katabatic wind, which flow during the higher snowfall periods. So, as I have discussed, that there are a lot of conifers which are, especially the deodar, which is growing in Harsil region, in Gangotri region. You can see these trees are along with the river channel, and the amount of precipitation which observe plant as well as it's went to the river. It's there is an indirect relationship, and by modeling these relationship, we can also reconstruct the discharge in past time or in a very accurate or annual resolutions. But in 2015, we have started a new venture of science that is called dendrogeomorphology. In the last panel, A, B, C, you can see PSI1 and PSI marks PSI. The PSI is nothing, it's a paleo flood indicator. When a boulder stuck to the plant during the high flooding year and flash flooding year, it makes a marks, it makes an injury, and that injury are the real indicator of floods. So if we use some mathematical formula, we measure the distance from bottom to the marks, and we collect the tree ring samples, we are able to accurately tell how much amount passed through this channel during this year and during that year. Like we can say that at 400 years of reconstruction, we can tell about the all details of volume of the discharge that passed through this channel. And we published this paper in Journal of Hydrology. This is one of the most respected journal in terms of hydrology. So how we collect the samples? This is very easy. We use an increment borer, which is a 0. Very a tiny needle-like a structure. As we give our blood samples to doctor to test the blood report, the same way we take the samples from plant to take a core, and we mount it in a wooden frame and then polished with a different grade of sandpaper so that cells can be visualized. There is a protocol to collect the samples. We need to follow that protocol. For climatology, we have different aspect of collecting samples. For geomorphology, we need to collect the samples which are close to own, but the climatology purpose, we try to collect the samples from 1.3 meter above the ground, or we call it height, breast height, we call to collect the samples. So these are the few examples from the core monsoon zone. We collected the teak samples from Ganga Plain, and I'm very much surprised. I'm working in an institutional project where I'm surprised, and these trees are also more than 100 years old, and they are cross-dated. Their annual rings are representative to the environmental conditions. They are easy to cross-date, means they are easy to assign calendar year. So for the glacier study in 2017, I tried to collect the samples which are close to the area where the permanent snow is there. Or the one criteria we assume that the trees would be in an area where the katabatic wind flow or the glacier wind flow through the channel, which is essential, so that at least the effect of these cold condition must be observed in tree rings. So how we build, so little bit I try to make simple how we build the chronology. So there is a living tree, so we collect the living tree, and then there are a lot of dead tree in the field, so we also collect the dead tree. But the collection of dead tree is difficult because we don't use corer because it's stuck and may be broken. So we collect through saw or we disc sample, and there may be a preserved tree in a lake or something, so we collect all, and then we make a patterns of ring. So there must be some common time period where the rings are similar, because in a similar climatologic or a stress condition or homogeneous sites, the rings are formed homogeneously. So you will get, and this is very common, so you will get the ring pattern similar for common period, and then we extend this for the longer period. So we have extended one example here, 868 year for the Himachal region. But there are some problem also. I'd like to introduce a new term here, which is all not new, but for this slide, that is called divergence problem. Sometimes tree do not behave in a similar manner, which we call it diverse tree or divergent tree, that we will discuss in we will study in a ecological manner. We will see how these trees are behaving differently. So this is a different aspect of dendrochronology, an emerging aspect of dendrochronology, where the ecological aspect we are discussing or we are working on. So how we do the processing of data acquisitions, some basics of very simple process we do. For we make a skeleton plot. A skeleton plot is nothing. We take a graph paper and we represent the each ring of samples on the graph paper, and then we match with the all sample size. For example, in a site where we have collected more than 33, so we make core of all tree. We take 2 core per tree. So we plot all representation of all rings in a scale of 10, and the narrow ring represents a longer line, and for broader rings we plot a small line, and then we match with the all ring. As I can say that the ecological concept, ecological amplitude concept says that in a common climatic conditions, the ring form homogeneously. So, and the stress condition they followed all are in homogeneous conditions. So you can see that the narrow ring patterns in the skeleton plot you will find similar. By doing this, we make a master chronology, and that master chronology will be our guide, our baseline for developing or cross-dating other series. We do some mathematical things that I will not go into detail, but I will just briefly I will touch how we do these things. Then we measure the ring width variability, ring width changes, by using a machine called LeanTap. There are a lot of machines. You can even nowadays you can scan the sample and use the image analysis software that can directly measure the ring width variation on your screen. But traditionally we use a machine called LeanTap distance measure machines coupled with the microscope, like a stereoscope microscope. We prefer this microscope, and then we measure using a software the distance between rings or distance of one complete rings, and we do for all series. So this is the basics of dendrochronology, trading science, how we exactly these things started, and now this subject is exploring the dimension of climatology, glaciology, geomorphology, and whatnot. There are n numbers of things, and as a the the student who are in a master's, you can say that this is one of the fascinating thing where you can use a plant material or observatory of plant, and you are inferring a climatic things or a physics things or a glacial dynamics. So being a botanist to climatologist, there is a linkage, and that linkage is dendrochronology. So first, and this is based on a very basic thing that is called tree growth climate relationship. The tree growth climate relationship is it's nothing. It's just we know that the growth of a tree is function of climate or moisture content. Means the favorable conditions provide the accurate favorable condition provide the good for the growth and the formations of the cambial activity. Moisture is one of the important factor because it's also provide the basic features to make up wider rings. So in harsh condition, you will get a narrow ring. In a favorable conditions, you will get a wider ring. But there are a lot of limitations, limiting factor. As we all know, there is a concept of limiting factor. Limiting factor is that one particular factor. Without that factor, the total growth is not up to the mark, and that will be a triggering factor for this. For example, in higher temperature region, the temperature is a very much limiting factor. In a lower region, the precipitation is limiting factor. Means if the fluctuation in any grade of temperature in any 1 degree of or 0.5 degree of fluctuation in higher tree line zone, in a higher altitude zone like more than 3000 or 5000, 4000, 3500 around meter, it will directly affect the growth of the plant. Similarly, the concept of seasonality is very much important. As we all know that the phenology is growing a plant to the end of the growing season. There are the seasons like growing seasons or end of the growing seasons. The growing season phenology is very much important because pre-monsoon season where the cambial activities are going on, also the climatic fluctuations are going on. So the actual relations or basic relations with the growing seasons are very much true for the dendrochronology. But but now the questions for all of us, we sometimes make the relationship with the non-growing period, like a latter phase of the growing season, or as we the season progressed in the November or December, where the seas almost the activity is almost ceased, where you can, if we establish the relationship with the climatic parameter, it would be very difficult because one parameter is fluctuating, another is almost in near to zero, then the model would not be a good in terms. So the stressful conditions, low moistures, extreme heat, cold, or any other conditions create unfavorable conditions for plant, and they reflect in ring with variability. And optimal conditions like high temperature, good temperature, not high temperature, good temperature that is needed to plant growth, moisture availability, these are the which provide the wider rings. So basis of these basic tree growth climate relationship, now I move to one of the very fascinating paper, Mani et al., who published in Nature in 1988. He collected large number of samples, which not only treating but I scores also. As you can see the graph, there is a large, the tree represents the treating core and the star represent the I score. So throughout globe, he collected lot of samples, lot of data. And then he established the tree growth relationship or responses. The the B, the figure B showing the meteorological station or the grid station available throughout the globe. And then he developed a model. And these model yielded a reconstructions. The second figure you can see the reconstructed, you can see the reconstruction of temperature, and the last 19 onwards you see sudden peaks or hikes, and these hikes are called hockey sticks, but or the accelerated change of climate change, global warming. He shows that the temperature is accelerating in very unprecedented manner or changes, which is still a global debate because the method he used, PCA, at that time it was criticized that we need to develop more robust method. But somehow this is a very landmark paper, and still we are using for the one of the best or pioneer or good paper in using tearing to reconstruct the temperature variability. These are the few examples from my lab. My one of the PhD student Devi, he recently reconstructed the pre-monsoon drought for the Kullu region. And he shows that the region has now been facing difficulties in terms of drought. Drought's intensity is intensifying. As you can see, the graph, time series graph, it's going lower down. So we says that in the recent 3 decades, the intensity of drought, especially growing period, there is a problem and it's going down. In this in the next in the second work, which is Puspendra or myself, this is published in Science of Total Environment, and Puspendra is also working with co-guide with me. He's a PhD student, and he observed that during 400 years, almost 400 years, 2022 is the driest spring season. For for reaching to this 2022 year marks, he did a lot of exercises. Like, he almost analyzed all meteorological data which is available throughout the world. He analyzed all reanalysis product, and then he observed that this year is the lowest year. But there are also the low spring seasons are there in meteorological data sets in the observation period. But then these data sets matched with the ringwood data set, and we observed that yes, the 2022 is the driest one. Now moving to the glacier, I'd like to move to the glacier studies. So in the recent couple of years, you can see a lot of paper appear in very high impact journal like Science, Nature, and other climatic research journals, which says that the Himalayan glaciers and their state are very much in danger because the rate of glacial retreats is unprecedented, or the rate of mass balance is also changing. Like a state and fate of Himalayan glacier, this is a very popular paper published in Science, which says that we almost lost a lot of glaciers, and we are at a very fast stage. Bhanu from earlier it was in Wadia, but now in Goa. Bhanu described that he compiled the 4 decades of mass balance data, which is which is available on meteorological data set or observatory, and he also found that yes, the rate is changing, but he pointed one thing is that all glaciers are not behaving in a similar way. Their nature, their influences, and their intensity and their speeds are different. In the changing climate, we I'm also in the paper. We synthesizes the glacier changes as well as the climatic changes, and we want to establish the relationship. We found that the area where the climate is declining, glacier is behaving differently, and the area where temperature is increasing or precipitation is increasing, behaving different glaciers. Another paper from UK group, US group, they have also shows based on satellite data that yes, in last 40 years the glaciers are retreating very fast. The paper from Ajam et al., Farooq Ajam et al., which compiled a paper on glacial hydrology, which referred the glacier as well as hydrology of Karakoram, Himalaya, is such a different story. And then Mount Everest, again from the glaciarism, they have also stated the different story. But lastly, in 2022, the Swaminathan group, he says, and he wrote a paper that the alarms of glacier retreat in Himalaya are false. Now the debate started here because most of the paper who published in QI journal, they said that the rate of retreat or advancement are very much in critical stage. But the recent paper says that these rates may be a false alarm. Now we have to take very cautious while interpreting these data set or inferring these data set to which area, to which site, and to which climatic condition we are interpreting the glacier changes. So here the graph showing the data set available in the Himalayan region based on meteorological changes. You can say during 1995 to 2000 there is a gap because for some reason these meteorological observations not work properly. So there is a data gap. But almost we have a 1975 to 2000 till 2026 we have all data sets for glacials glacial advancement or mass balance in this region. And there are a paper of Garg et al. Who also summarizes or compiled these data sets. But initially, Pratap compiled these data sets for the all Himalayan glaciers. So how we do the glacier changes now? So we wanted to understand the glacier behavior in more than 100 years or 200 years using training data. So then we started working, what are the climate data sets available in the Himalaya? And how these data sets are responding to the changes in mass balance and glacier retreat in the region. And then we realize, as I have earlier told, we realize that the glaciers which is situated in high precipitation zone behaving differently, and the glacier which is situated in low precipitation date behaves differently. The upper graph shows the observatory station reanalysis product of reanalysis is the interpolated data sets available for climatic phenomena, which is available in the Himalaya. We also studied this. And again, and with respect of all these things, we now synthesizes the changes of glacier with change of climatic scenario in the region. And then building on this story, we applied this to reconstruct glacial's history. In glacier in applied dendroglaciology, the Luckman he's initiated first paper in 1988, and he said that yes, the changes in variability in ring width is indicator of glacier changes. If you collect the samples close to the vicinity of glacier, you will find the responses or the glacier's record. And then Smith and Lewis, uh, they have explored the more dynamics of these glaciers variability related to the ring width. So the concept is the several factor come, as we all know that there are several factor controlling the dynamics of growth like temperature, precipitation, and the same factor also controlling the growth of a tree. So if the same factor controlling the growth of a tree as well as the advancement and retreat of the glaciers, we are now in a position to model it and to understand by using ring width, the glacial history for the larger picture, for the longer picture. So what are the mechanics? I can little bit discuss about the what are the dynamics which works for the glacier or tree growth. So cold microclimatic, as I said, the cold microclimate near to glacier or vicinity or close to the adjoining area of glacier, the colder conditions, big ice or snow, a strong wind, they are the high density air which we call this katabatic wind, and because of this and slope of gravity, it's flow to the lower side, and these lower sides and these winds affect the growth of tree. So by using this basics concept, we isolated that yes, this tree in these regions are very much influenced by these winds. So make it little bit simple, like a species of Abies pinro, Pisces mithiana and Asculus indica. These growths are inversely proportional to the variability of the glacier changes. Means if there is a retreat, lot of water is there, it will affect the growth. And in later, we have also observed that the isotopic composition of ring width, delta 30 and O18, they are the very much predictor of, or they can be used to predict the local hydrology and regional flight climatic phenomena. And I can say that delta O18 is the very much sensitive to monsoon variability. And why these two isotope parameters are important? Because as we know that during photosynthesis, the carbon is fixed, and that fixed carbon in each ring represents that particular year of fractionation of delta 13 or carbon fractionations. And the same with the oxygen also. So by using two isotope method, we can also enhance the glacier and growth models. So I will not go to detail and complexity of this graph, but I will show how exactly and beautifully works our work with the glaciers, and we compared with the all global phenomena. Like we reconstructed the glacial mass balance using the tree growth responses, and we see that there is a lot of fluctuations, but yes, Himalayan glaciers are behaving differently from the polar one. And the one interesting features we observed that the glacials, especially the little ice was there in Himalaya, was weaker and briefer, punctuated with the shorter periods, like shorter period of favorable and unfavorable conditions. We also analyzed a lot of large atmospheric phenomena and oceanic phenomena. They are influencing not only the glacier health as well as the plant health. And there are relations like high ENSO year, low El Nino year, AMO year, they are affecting the growth of plant. Even we have also established a relationship with the solar radiance. What are the role of solar radiance during these little ices and later phase of little ices? But one thing we observed, which is common to all studies, that yes, during 1960 or 1970 onwards, there is a drastic change in glaciers retreat. And this is valid for all regions, except, but still debatable, except for Jammu Kashmir region, which is little bit stable, little not stable, little bit lower retreat of recession than other regions and higher on from Himachal Pradesh. But we almost agreed that 1970 onwards, there is a retreat, there is a decline in mass balance. We published this paper in 2017 scientific report, and that time we faced a lot of debate and discussion that is this true to reconstruct glacier mass balance using treating, and we have argumented that yes, the tree growing, we have selected the trees species which are going to the the, the vicinity of the glacier or nearby the glacier, and they are very much responsive to the glacier's microclimate. And then in 2022, you can see the another paper came in the same journal, and you can see the title of the paper is almost similar and the result is almost similar. And you will find surprise that the second paper is based on truly remote sensing and censored satellite data. And we are very much close. So I have shown the closeness of result. The first graph is showing reconstruction by our treating width, and the lower graph showing the reconstruction of all these glaciers or interpretation of all these glaciers, clean glaciers and debris flow glacier by remote sensing data. And why somehow we are close to the 0.011 or 0.0202 milli per year retreat, we are close to that. So we established that yes, after so many years, the people they have accepted this thing that the treating with behavior or treating with proxy can be reliably used the glacier mass balance, the glacier retreat in the Himalayan region. I can explain this graph. We we uh, we we have we have validated their regions where the correlative with the different parts of the region. These higher darker graph shows that these data sets are very much correlated with the instrumented data sets, and these are the validations, and there are a lot of validation we have proved in lot of paper, like in quaternary in international paper, in another paper where we have monsoon reconstructed, and in recent paper we have also, so we have validated our reconstructed with the observatory data sets. So as we have discussed, the glaciers retreat or advancement are maybe used to understand the glacier dynamics using treating. Features of both conifers and broadleaf can be used to understand these features. And we have represented the mass balance of the Himalayan glacier, especially UK, HP, and JK, and they are showing different trends and behavior and in terms of rates. And this is all for 400 years. So uh, I think I have a time. If time permit, I can, if you allow, I can explain more things. Or how much time I have left? Hello.
Sir, you can take 5 minutes.
Oh, then I have to skip. So
Okay.
these are okay. So few slide I need to skip. A lot of things are to discuss
No,
with
you
you,
can
but
take 10 minutes, no problem. No.
okay. So these are the isotopic study. We have isolated each rings and then isotope, and we studied the atmospheric features of that glaciers area, and we published in Cryosphere, one of the best journal in the world, which is a community-based with open forum discussion. And we again proved that the treating isotopes and oxygen and delta 30, they are also very much useful to understand the glacier variability. But one thing is very common, the 1960 onward, the glacier variability and the retreating rate was almost we observed everywhere. So then again, the dynamics, how much moisture is available in that area, we also studied based on these two isotopic data, and we shows that yes, the role of atmospheric moisture dynamics is very much critical in terms of glacier variability. So these are the values which observed from the different species of isotopic composition. I will not go into detail. And then the phases of glacial mass balance based on isotopic data sets. But why isotopic is based? Because it's not age dependent. The treating width, there is a problem of juvenile age effect. We have to delineate the earlier age effect through while making cross dating or while making the chronology. But in terms of isotopic, we don't need to do that. So these things are impacting the glaciers and creating the natural hazards, glacial lake outburst, and changing in temperature, precipitation, extreme events, and it's also affecting the agriculture yields and changing in productions. So then we analyzed one of the phenomena which is happening in like glacier changes in Himalaya. We observe all meteorological phenomena, and in and then we saw that there is extreme precipitation event that causing the glacier changes or chunks of the glacier debris flow occurring in the Himalayan region. But now we need to understand the past older time period. For that, we started this dendrogeomorphology study with the collaboration of University of Bern. And as I have earlier told, the boulder or the stone is stuck to the plant growing near to the river channel, mostly broadleaf. They preserve the signal of that tree, that event. Even the height of this scar, as well as the amount of the water flowing in the if we do a cross section of the river channel and take the height of the plant and the depth of the water, then we have a different equation by which we can even interpolate the amount of water or discharge had happened in the past. So these are the features we observe in microscope. So these are the injury marks, and then we make a slide, and you see the unorganized callous tissues. This is the one of the best indicator of event. These tissue are the direct indicator of event, and the regin duct, as I have earlier told, these regin ducts are also indicator in stress condition. So by using all these features, doing microtomy slide, preparing slide of trees, we can infer all these natural hazards that had happened in the past. So we similar one paper we have pioneer paper we have published where we have recurrence survey for the broadleaf tree. We found exact, these are the calendar year of event, and we matched with the anomaly. We recorded anomaly in the rings. These are the all rings we mentioned and published in current science for the. This is the complex mathematical formula where we have used all the scar features, anomaly features of growth, and then we reconstruct the flooding events. Like for example, here we have reconstructed flooding event from 1925 to 2013, 2015, and these three type of longer events are not available in any meteorological conditions or any meteorological stations. The red line indicates the higher number, the high frequency of flood that occurred during the past, and the gray scales beyond the graph shows the number of tree core we used in this analysis. So these are the some modern or conventional approach, mathematical approach basically we use to reconstruct the flooding history for the region. So we reconstructed flood history. We have given the policymakers details that in recent 1970 onwards, their frequency are giving, even return period are increasing. So almost 1.3 events probabilities every year. It means after 1 or 3 years, you will may get a flooding event in these regions. So summary of all these is in dendrochronology. So this is not limit of this study. There are avalanche studies, there are landslide studies, there are n number of studies which are going on in our lab. A lot of students are working. So in total, summary of this all discussion is that dendrochronology is one of the best tool to understand past climatic conditions in annual resolutions, because the growth anomalies are real indicator of things that had happened in the past. So the dendroclimatology, which is an established branch which refers the climatic conditions or which infer the past climatic variability, temperature, precipitation, drought, and it's a crew. And you will surprise to know that the climate scientists are taking these results more reliable than any other things. So we are proudly providing one of the best reconstructions, and the reconstructions are very much useful for the climate interpretations. Glaciology, as I have discussed, this glaciology things are new, but people are working to understand the glacial features, and there are a lot of things are coming out recent days using isotopes, marker studies, which are now going to be coming in the recent decades. Geomorphology, as I have said, our lab already established, and we are working on. I have two students who are dedicatedly doing PhD on dendrogeomorphology. They are working to establish lot of things which are related with hazard and landslide, debris flow, rock fall. Even they are even to do a life cycle assessment, the how much amount lost during last 100 years, and is there government should take policies makers to take actions so that the making of new any infrastructure near a hazard area, eh, we can give a very much useful information for that reason. Together, all these dendro-based study provide a high resolution, means annual resolution, year-to-year variability. We provide lot of constraint, lot of climatic variability things for the longer perspective. And these things are also useful, the models which predict the future. There are lot of need to do the models calibration means the verification of the data you put in the models. These steering reconstructions are now working to provide the models. We are working also on the different models to see how simulation as well as steering proxy works together, and how much amount of we provide the assessment, or we provide the bias to remove the biasness in the models. But before ending to this session, I would like to say that in INQUA we have given a theme in broadleaf tree. I would like to request all of you to please submit abstract for this theme, and anything you are working in broadleaf, please submit. And the deadline is 31st March, so deadline is very near. So I request to all the community who are working on trees, especially for broadleaf, please submit abstract to this session. Myself and Dr. Akhilesh, we are co-convener and Trinaji convener of this session. So we would like to each other interact with all of you, and we will get more exposure or more explanation to these things in this BSIP and Lucknow. So I hope I will see all of you, most of the you in Lucknow during INQUA, and we will discuss broader sense, or we will provide a broad perspective of all these things. Thank you. And if you have any inquiry, you can mail me my email address, BSIP address, mayank_shekhar@the rate of BSIP, I can happy to provide any answer related with these things or this dendrochronology. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mayank, for your fascinating and very informative lecture. I have few questions. Uh, First thing is whether dendro this science can be used for tropical trees and tropical climate and tropical habitat, because all you talk is all temperate
Mhm.
and the glacier regions and all that.
Mhm.
You do mention about the Betula utilis,
Mhm.
which is an angiosperm, but most
Mhm.
of the plants you covered were all pines,
Yes.
uh, Piscia and Devdwara and all that.
Mhm.
So that's the thing. As you said that, and it's true that the growth rings of temperate plants are better uh, because of the sharp climatic differences. But whether we can use also the tropical plants also for this type of study. And my second question is, you slightly answer it, whether it can be futuristic also, whether we can predict something out of it, or it shows only everything about the past.
Thank you, sir,
Thank
for
you.
Thank you, sir, for questions. So, very beautiful, very nice questions. The tropical tree. Yes, I have not covered here tropical tree. My boss, my Guruji, he's worked a lot of on tropical tree like teak. He did a lot of study from even Maharashtra, Nagpur region, and he worked for Priyambakulam, Kerala, and he reconstructed the first monsoon history from Hosangabad, MP. So yes, one tree that has already established, which is teak, which is very good in terms of climate responses, and people are working. In fact, we are working for this tree also, but since the fascinating is Himalaya, so we have introduced these things. But the only the species which are suitable or we worked on, there is a successful example which is of teak. And second question is the prediction of future. The prediction of future is very much difficult because a physical condition is attributed to a lot of things. For example, uh, you you directly one cannot say that temperature is in will be increased only because of CO2. It will increase because of lot of things like fossil fuel burning, like atmospheric water content capacity decrease or increase. So we have a lot of models which project future in terms of temperature, precipitations, but we can only say up to the instrumental period. By predicting future, you need n number of attributes that are linked to the physical phenomena. So at this stage, predicting future is difficult, but predicting past is very easy and very useful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My problem was, if you get just a little clue
Mhm.
with the help of these models, that what is going to happen in future.
Mhm. Uh, 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 at this stage, your vision is very much very fascinating, and we should work on the models and model products to predict the future based on Turing, but only based on Turing data. At this stage, it would be difficult, but if we combine lot of other proxies data, for example, we combined I-score data, we combined speleothem data, maybe by doing all our mathematical calculation, we can predict the future at some certainty. Maybe there are uncertainty, but we are able to combining all these models or all these proxies, combining all these proxies, then we are able to do that. Yes.
Thank you for your fascinating talk. Thank you
Thank you,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Mayank sir, Professor
Yes.
Lattu is very senior professor for Mumbai.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. If you are here, it's a blessing for us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayank,
Thank you,
for
sir.
a nice lecture.
Thank you,
And
ma'am.
I want to ask one question
Yes, ma'am.
about the lignified tissue.
Mhm.
Does it relate the variations in the pattern of glaciers and the pattern of wood? Does it reflect directly on the lignified tissue and the quality of wood ahead?
Uh, mm, we lignification or lignified would directly do not reflect, but when we do isotopic analysis, we remove these lignified things, and we try to make it to convert it isotopic fractionation, where we need to do some chemical decomposition, chemical process where we remove all these woody material and we convert into benzene, and then we do IRMS, and then we observe the isotopic fractionation of delta 13 and delta 18. So directly we don't have any relationship, but yes, during the process of isotopic or
Mm.
isotopic study, dendroisotopic study, we take care of these things.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
So that may help in judging the quality of wood also
Yes,
for
yes, you are
those
true. Yes,
who
yeah.
matter about the wood.
Yes. But yes, in terms of quality of food, yes, it's important. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Mayank, for a beautiful lecture. Actually, you talk about the resin ducts, which are very significant in the conifers. Then, what about the tropical trees? Which type of tissues or ducts they are important in the tropical trees?
Thank you, ma'am, raising such a beautiful question. The resin duct, we call it traumatic resin duct. The resin duct which forms in terms of stress conditions. So far, we observed that in conifers, the response function or a stress response mechanism is in terms of resin duct. But for broadleaf, there is another tree. But there is another thing. We need to, in broadleaf, we try to understand the ring variability or abnormal growth release or growth suppress phenomena. They are the real signatures. So resin duct phenomena are predominantly or dominantly reliable for only conifers. Yes, but for broadleaf or other species, we don't find resin duct formations. We observe the growth anomalies. Okay.
So I would like to know, are you listening?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know the relation between the rings and the age of the tree.
Oh, very nice, ma'am. This is very research topic or research question. We collect the samples. Generally, it's not like that. Higher you get the diameter of tree, and you will get a larger number of age. No, it's not in terms of Himalaya. Sometimes we get a very small, like 1.85 diameter, and there is a lot of rings. So directly, it's not like linear relation. Sometimes it's inverse, or sometimes it's maybe linear. If it's true in terms of where the forest stands are very young stage, then you can find there is a linearness, higher diameter, higher the age. But the older patches or the which preserve forest, you cannot find the linear pattern. We have different patterns, we have different patterns. But the young forest, yes, it's true. For the Himalayan region, there is a linear relationship, linear relationship.
Excellent presentation, sir. Thank you so much for all
Thank
these. Today, really a great learning, and thank you for organizing this session also.
thank you,
Great
ma'am.
speaker. And sir, I will send you the email, and I would
Sure, ma'am.
like to
Sure.
know more about
And,
it. And I'm an environmentalist, sir. I'm
thank
associated with Environment Organization in Sangli. I'm
Okay.
Masters in Environment Engineer. And
Thank you,
actually, we are working on the industries related to waste management. And
Okay,
there in the industry, tree plantation is also very important because green belt is 33%, sir.
Oh, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to share here that one of my postdoc student, he is working on dendrochemistry. So he collected the samples of all areas where dumping material are there or toxic element are there. And he observed that broadleaf, they are very much phytoremediate. They observe toxic element. We are going to publish the paper which says how much amount of toxic element travel from one ring to another ring, and also with the time constraint. So we are also working in the chemistry and waste, these pollution part also. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I'm associated with laboratory also, sir. We are having environmental laboratory
Thank
where
you,
we
ma'am.
do the analysis of soil and water,
Yeah, we are
wastewater,
also
flow,
doing.
and everything. Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Yes,
ma'am.
sir.
Thank you. Please do, ma'am.
Sir, you have shared
Hello.
your email
Good evening.
ID. That is also okay, or you are going to share in the chat also?
Email address. It's a presentation. Maybe I will share to Arjit sir.
No, it will be available, sir. Your
Okay.
presentation will be available on YouTube
Okay.
channel our.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Hello,
much,
good
sir.
evening.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
If any more question,
yes,
no.
good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Uh,
Good evening.
this is in the relation to the tropical plants only. So just like dendrochronology,
Mhm.
is it like possible to find out the rate of sequestration
Mhm.
with relation to the tropical plants as well with these kind of studies?
Yes, sir. This is also a fascinating thing. I'd like to say that I have a lot of things to tell you. We have recently published a paper which calculate uh, above ground biomass. So we reconstructed Michaelia champaka.
Okay, that's
We collected the samples, and then we did NDVI. We established the relationship with the net primary productivity and then the NDVI data set, and we observed that we have also assessed the growth variability in terms of productivity. And there is a one example recently published this year. We published paper in terms of this growth variability. Yes,
great.
we have.
So the paper is available?
Yes, it's published in Dendrochronology. If you give me a mail, I will share the paper.
Sure, sure. Thank you
Okay,
so much, sir.
okay, thank you.
I think awards, sir, we can go,
Ye-
go for vote of
Yes, sir.
thanks.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, good evening, everyone. On behalf of the organizers of this monthly lecture series 2026, it is my privilege to propose the formal vote of thanks. First and the foremost, I express our sincere gratitude to Dr. Mayank Shekhar, scientist at the Birbal Sahni Institute of Palaeosciences, Lucknow, for graciously accepting our invitation and delivering such an insightful and enlightening lecture on Dendrochronology, understanding environmental change through tree rings. So your presentation has beautifully highlighted how tree rings serve as a natural archives of the environmental history and the climate change. Your valuable insights have certainly enriched our understanding of this fascinating field. And the way you have explained with the case studies, it was fantastic. I would also like to extend our heartfelt thanks to Maharashtra Vriksha Samvardhini, Pune, for their continuous efforts in promoting environmental awareness and supporting academic dialogues on biodiversity and conservation. Our sincere appreciation goes to Department of Botany, Ramniranjan Junjunwala College, Mumbai, and Dr. Balasaheb Khardekar College, Bengaluru, for jointly organizing this lecture series and creating a platform where students, teachers, and researchers can interact with eminent scientists. I would also like to acknowledge all the faculty members, researchers, and the students who joined this session and contributed to making this program meaningful through their enthusiastic participation and thoughtful engagement. Finally, I extend my thanks to the organizing team and the technical support members who work behind the scenes to ensure the smooth conduct of this online lecture. With this, we conclude today's session of this monthly lecture series. Thank you all for your valuable time and participation. I would also like to appeal to all of you to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mission Devrai, for further information. This Mission Devrai is a YouTube channel, and the monthly lectures series is all the all the videos are available on the same. You can also join our WhatsApp group for getting all the kind of future chats and the future lectures in that particular chat box. Mission Devrai is available for all the kind of the programs or the talks which from the experts in the field of plant sciences and biodiversity. So thank you one and all. Have a pleasant evening.